Good morning, everybody. I hope you guys are looking forward to a wonderful day and a wonderful week. It is going to be a great week. It is what we choose. My name is Evelyn Knight, and I am the CEO and founder of Childcare Business Professionals. Welcome, and thank you for taking the time out today. So today we are going to talk about a subject that I've really struggled with my entire life, and that is fear. That is fear of whatever. It feels like there's always something to be afraid of, doesn't it? I don't know. It just always feels like the economy and this person quitting or not having enough money or whatever. But there is always something to be afraid of. Good morning, Lakita. Um, so that's what I want to talk about today because it's something that I really struggle with a lot and I have to stay conscious of. And I've finally gotten to a point in my life after all these years that it's not controlling me anymore. And the spirit of fear that I used to have is no longer the driving force in my life. And so that's really what I want to talk about today. So, really quick, if you haven't gotten your Child Care Business Summit tickets, make sure you get them. It's actually this week. We'll be there Friday and Saturday. It's not too late. If you're in the Dallas area, you've got to get there. Make sure you get to the summit. It is going to be life-changing. And a lot of what I'm talking about today, we're going to talk about. Oh, and I've really been looking over the content that I'm creating for Summit, and that's what brought me to this subject on fear today when I was thinking about what am I going to talk to these guys about tomorrow. And as I sat through church yesterday, my pastor was talking about the spirit of fear and different things about being in a state of fear and how much it does. And I realized that that's what I need to talk to you guys about today. And it's what really everything revolves around, right? We get to these points in our lives where we can't make a decision because fear is holding us back. But that can be the worst thing we can possibly do. The worst thing we can possibly do. So I actually was on a call this morning with my business coach, and he told a story that really ties perfectly into what we're talking about today. And he told the story about Andrew Carnegie and Napoleon Hill. And if those of you who do not know who Napoleon Hill is, I bet I have his book sitting around here somewhere, maybe not. I usually do. I've got books all around me. But his book, Think and Grow Rich, is one of the most iconic books ever written. I can pretty much guarantee you that every book I have surrounding me, and there's probably about 15, all of them all started from the book Think and Grow Rich, like this wonderful book, one of my favorite books of all time. All of them, this whole movement of like just up leveling and kind of the business coaching world that we live in today, not just mental health, like from a psychological level, but more of the life coaching. All of it started with Napoleon Hill and the book Think and Grow Rich. And Andrew Carnegie actually was interviewing people to do a study. And the study was based on finding interviewing the most successful people in the world at that time. And we're talking Henry Ford, Thomas Edison, Andrew Carnegie himself. Oh my gosh, who are some of the other ones? Well, I mean, that alone is huge, right? These are some of the most iconic people that have ever lived when it comes to just living these full, successful lives. And so Carnegie interviewed over, I think he said 250 people. Again, I just heard this story this morning, but it's perfect for what we're talking about. It was like 250 people that he interviewed. And he was trying to make a decision on who to hire to do this project. And now here was the project. You are going to go through and study these people for 20 years. And then you're basically going to take the information, write a book, make it kind of a thesis, and it is going to basically make you famous forever, right? This studying these people and figuring out what makes them click, what makes these super, super successful people successful. But here's the catch. You're not getting paid for it. There's no money in it. So apparently in this whole interaction, Napoleon Hill said yes within 30 seconds. And Andrew Carnegie had a stopwatch, and he clicked the stopwatch as soon as Napoleon Hill said yes. And basically, he told Napoleon Hill, oh, you still had 30 seconds to go. And so then they discussed, like, why? So Andrew Carnegie was giving the people he interviewed 60 seconds to make the decision. That's it. To make a decision, to interview the world's most successful people over 20 years and not make a dime. You don't make any money on it, but you can do whatever you want with the data, right? So these were people you couldn't connect to. So Carnegie was going to connect this person, the writer, whoever it was. 250 people applied to do this, but all of them hesitated. None of them could make a decision. And what Andrew Carnegie said was, in order to be successful in life, you have to make decisions on the fly. You have to be able to make a decision and just go with it. But what holds us back from making decisions? What holds us back from pulling the trigger on anything? What holds us back from moving to that next level? It's fear. It's our fear. And I've read the book Think and Grow Rich a couple times, and some of the subsequent books that came from it. I can guarantee you guys, if you put any book in the chat that is like, and I'm blanking on them right now, but if you put any book in the chat that's like this, steps to becoming more successful, every one of them had their start in that book, Think and Grow Rich. All of them did. I am a huge John Maxwell fan, his books, and they all attribute it. They all will tell you, every single one of them. Most of the time, you're going to see that book quoted in these books. So it's such a huge, iconic book that basically puts together why these men were just against all odds, what made them different, right? But Carnegie recognized even before the book that ability to make a quick decision, to be sure of yourself, was key. But too many of us are so crippled by fear. We're afraid of, where is the money going to come from? We're afraid of who is going to be there to support me. We're afraid of, how am I going to find the time? Let me know in the chat, what are some of the fears that cripple you? What are the fears that really stop you from taking charge of your life, from taking what is seemingly a risk in order to find that peace that we all long for? So many of us create, and I know this is really hard for some people to hear, we create our own problems. Yes, money mindset for sure. Money mindset's a big one. But we create our own problems because we are so focused on the problems, right? And 80% of what we worry about never happens. It doesn't happen. So you're wasting 80% of that brain power on nothing. Last week, I had a coaching call with one of my clients, and she was so worried. And she was saying, and if she's on here, watches it, you're going to know who I'm talking about. She was so worried and messaged me, I can't make it to Summit next week. There's just too much and this and that. So I basically said, okay, tell me what's going on. What's going on? And she listed a couple things. And I said, okay, but all of this is blah, 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 blah. Because now let me premise, I'm outside her fish tank. You know, when you're inside your own fish tank, you really can't see past the water you're swimming in. But from people outside of your fish tank, they can see the whole big picture. They can see all the stuff you can't see. You know, they can see that person who's coming with a new filter to clean up your water. They can see the food that's coming. They can see different. But when you're in your own fish tank, you can't see past your bowl. So in her situation, she really just couldn't see past her bowl. So I kind of reeled her back in and said, look, you've got this, 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 and this. And I showed her, like, it's fine. It's not that big a deal. Is it stressful? Yes. I'm not going to pretend like it's not. She's opening a brand new childcare center. It is stressful, but it's not what you think. It's not as much as you think. And she was very stressed about one thing in particular that was a timing issue. And she had 2 weeks to get it done. So the very next day I got a message. I got it. It's here. We're good. Task complete. So I had to message her back and say, I really want you to sit in this moment for a little bit and think about how much anxiety you allowed this to cause you, how much worry you put into this one thing, how much sleep you lost, how you almost canceled Summit and lost all the money you invested in it. And here we are, and it's done. Everything you just worried about, all that worry was for nothing. It never was a problem to begin with. So I want you to think about a time in your life, because every one of us has been there, right? Where we were so worried about something and it doesn't happen. And then we always think, oh, that turned out good, right? That's our oh, that turned out, oh, thank God, right? But why did you worry in the first place? Why not just trust the process? When your life is aligned how it should be, everything falls into place. And if it doesn't fall into place, then maybe you're not on the right path. And that's something to really think about. But how much are you holding back in life because you're too scared to pull the trigger? I hear from so many of you who say things like, I really want to be at your childcare business summit, but I'm afraid to spend the money. And then I hear from other people who come to Summit and they're like, oh my gosh, this summit has made me so much money. And I know personally in my heart, and I also know just from my own personal experiences and the journey I've been through in life, whenever someone tells me that they're afraid of spending the money, my first thought was, that fear, money mindset problems, right? Because I know attending things like the Chakra Business Summit is actually going to make you more money than you're going to lose. And the ones who tell me they don't have time. Well, I'm going to even teach you how to start managing your time. All of those deficits that I hear in my mind, I know, well, here's the answer, but you're choosing not to take it. But we can't just say that to people, right? If I had a conversation with you and I said that, you just, she's just trying to sell me something, or I don't get it. But it's that fear. It overwhelms us. It cripples us. It stops us from pulling the trigger on things that are life-changing, that could literally set you free. I talk to people every day, owners, people who wish to be an owner. And they're so afraid to join our membership because they're afraid to spend the money. But what I know is when they don't, they're actually losing a lot more money. I've literally talked to, I can't even tell you how many owners, just last week alone, I talked to, who I knew exactly just by talking to them. I can see where they're losing. I can see why they're working 50 hours a week or they're injecting $10,000 a month into their companies. I see it. I know exactly what's happening. But their fear won't let them see it. And their fear won't allow them to hire someone like me and my company to come in and fix it. Instead, they stay in the same place. They stay living the same miserable life with the same stress, waking up every morning thinking, oh God, it's another day. Ugh. And it's sad for me because I know I have the answers. I've done it with so many other, I think we're reaching probably 100 owners that we've done it with. Well, we should really count that to see where we're at because I'm pretty sure we're reaching 100 owners. I've done it literally 100 times. We know what we're doing. So I can see it so clearly now. I've done it myself. I've been there myself. I was that owner once and I pulled myself out. And it is heartbreaking at times to know that we have the answer, but there's people who are too scared. So they live in their own misery for years and years and years because they're too scared to do what they need to do to fix it. So I heard a story once that I'll share as well. And we're going to make this a quick one because I'll just close here. But there was once this man who was on vacation, and he rented a vacation home somewhere in the South. And he would go for walks every evening. And one evening, he heard a dog just yelping and yelping and yelping. And it was actually the man's first evening there. This dog is yelping and crying in obvious pain. Second night, same thing. Third night, he finally decides to go and see what's going on here. Why is this dog yelping? And he comes upon a house and he sees an older gentleman sitting in a rocking chair, rocking on his front porch, and a dog laying at his feet, just crying and yelping. The gentleman said, "Every night I've heard this dog yelp. What is going on?" And the old man says, "Well, he's laying on a nail." So the gentleman says to the older man, "Well, if he's laying on a nail and it hurts, why doesn't he just get up and move?" And the old man says, "I reckon it just doesn't hurt bad enough yet." So my challenge to you is to ask yourself, what nail are you sitting on that just doesn't hurt bad enough yet? What pain are you causing? Are you not allowing yourself to find the solution because it just doesn't hurt bad enough yet? It's a tough one, but we all do it. Why live in the pain when there is a solution? What solutions do you need now? If you're one of our members and it's something with your child care center, reach out to Lisa so we can help. There's so much we can do to help you. If you're not our member yet, reach out. My team is here for you. We can help. We've been there and done that. I've done it myself. In all the child care centers I've owned, I have had struggles. Whether the struggle is hiring, it's financial, it's having to fire someone you really care about, dealing with lawsuits. I've been through it all. And it doesn't have to be so painful. And you don't have to do it alone. And be sure, if you're not really sure to commit to something as big as a membership, join us for the Child Care Business Summit, because what we'll be teaching is going to change your life. So many of our clients say it over and over and over again that we changed their life. They go to the summit and they are never the same again. That's why we have so many people who come back a second time. It is life-changing. It isn't going to be like any other convention that you go to. I can promise you that, because I'm a child care center owner and I got tired of going to the same thing over and over and over and over and over again, right? And we all teach on the same thing too. So I made sure that the summit is very different. It is very different. I don't have a lot of the trendy speakers that are out there. I don't, because they're speaking everywhere and you're hearing the same information over and over and over. And that is not what you need. If the same information hasn't changed anything for you, I dare you to ask yourself, how's that working for me? And if the answer is it's not, I've gotten everything I can, and now I'm at a roadblock again. And I'm sure it helped at first, right? In the beginning, it was like, oh, that's amazing. Put it in place. Now it's fallen to the wayside. So I challenge you, join us for the Child Care Business Summit so you can see something completely different. You can see something that is absolutely life-changing and will definitely improve your child care center, and not just your child care center, but your overall life. When I went on this journey of personal development for myself, I am a completely different person today. Back then, I was even 160 pounds heavier than I am today. So that is why we tie all of this together, just making it a much higher level program that helps to change your life. That is what I'm out here for. I don't want you to waste your money on just another summit that's going to say the same old things, teach the same old techniques, just all those things. That's why I don't do my creative recruiting at my summit. That's why I don't do my same old things either at my summit, because you guys hear it all the time, all over the place. What you need is that real life practical stuff. Like, how am I going to manage my life tomorrow when I have to fire this person that's worked for me for 10 years? That's real life. What am I going to do when the grant money runs out and I don't know how I'm going to hit my new payroll? That is what you guys are dealing with. Not how am I going to organize my files so it's better for the state, right? That's not what's keeping you up at night. How am I going to hire? How am I going to survive this economy? Those are the kind of things we need right now. So I hope everybody has a wonderful rest of your day. And I cannot wait till next week, or actually this week. My gosh, it's this week already. So I can see everybody in person. It is so awesome to be able to be in the room, give hugs, and just to be there with everybody and to see you in person. I will see everybody later. Bye.